Area Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, October 9th. I don't have any great funny announcements today. I'm sorry. Just I'm glad fall is here, and I hope you are as well.
I'd rather not fall, thank you.
So with that, we will roll the opening announcements.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
All right, our next item is to do a roll call of commission members. Mr. Wadle?
Yes, sir. Fry?
Present.
Mater? Here. McKay? Here. Dool?
Here.
Bill Johnson?
Present.
Hi.
Here.
Nix?
Here.
Cluntz? Here. Warren?
Here.
Joe Johnson?
Here.
Miles?
Present.
Simbelman?
Here.
Aldrich?
Here.
Williams Bay?
Here.
Sir, all members are present.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone being here today, and I'd also recognize we have a full staff present. Welcome back, Mr. Cox. We've missed you the last couple of meetings, so.
I appreciate that, thank you.
All right, next item is 1.3, the approval of the MAPC meeting minutes from September 25th. I show Commissioner Miles was absent.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Joe Johnson with a second by Commissioner John Williams-Bay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously
Abstain.
with one abstention from Commissioner Miles. Thank you. Next, we will go through, on item 1.4, we will go through the agenda of the MAPC to see which items we can hear on consent. So first is going through our subdivision items. Item 2.1, subdivision 2023-25, a final plat at the Colonel James Jabera Airport, North Webb Road and East 45th Street North. Are there any members on the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.1 to consent. Item 2.2, subdivision 2025-48, a one-step final plat for the Clear Creek Acres, West 39th Street South and South 263rd Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.2 to consent. Item 2.3, subdivision 2025-49, a one-step final plat for Wilson Estates Office Park, East 21st Street North and North Rock Road. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.3 to consent. Item 2.4, subdivision 2025-50, a one-step final plat for the South Life Church Addition, South Seneca Street and West 55th Street South. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.4 to consent. Item 2.5, subdivision 2025-51, one-step final plat for First Furlong, East Harry Street and South 127th Street East. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.5 to consent. Last item on subdivision, 2.6, subdivision 2025-52, a one-step final plat for Serenity Meadows Edition, South 159th Street East and East 55th Street South. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.6 to consent.
Mr. Chairman, I move items 2.1 through 2.6.
Second.
We have a motion to approve items 2.1 through 2. Yes, sir.
I was just going to add that item 2.6 needs to have language with the motion included that it is approved per the adjusted access points that was finalized between subdivision and this meeting. It was a carryover from subdivision that needed to be figured out, and we got word that it was figured out that the access points have been approved.
Are you okay with that adjustment, Mr. Johnson? Okay. Commissioner Miles? Okay. So the motion is to approve items 2.1 through 2.6, with 2.6 having the amended adjusted conditions. Correct? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now hear the vacation items that we can determine by consent. Item 3.1, vacation 2025-38 has been deferred to October 23rd, so we will not be hearing that case today. Item 3.2, vacation 2025-41, a vacation request in the city at South Seneca Street and West 29th Street South. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.2 to consent.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve 3.1, item 3.1.
3.2.
I'm sorry, 3.2.
Yeah, 3.1 was deferred. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion to approve item 3.2 from Commissioner John Williams-Vey with a second by Commissioner John McKay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion approved unanimously. Now the public hearing items. First item is 4.1 CUP 2025-29 with zone 2025-41. That has been deferred to October 23rd, so we will not be hearing that case today. Item 4.2 is conditional 2025-119, a conditional use for an accessory apartment, East Mount Vernon Road and South Edgemore Drive approximately. Is there anyone from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.2 to consent. Item 4.3 is a PUD 2025-20 to allow assisted living facilities and independent living residences at East Harry and South 127th Street East. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? We have thank you. Is the applicant or agent present for this case? Great, thank you. So we will hear item 4.3. Item 4.4, PUD 2025-21. It's a PUD amendment request for building capacity, building coverage area, and max gross floor area on parcel 1 of approximately East Douglas Avenue and South Hillside Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Did I hear a yes in the back? Okay. Is the applicant or agent available for this case? All right, great. We will hear item 4.4. Item 4.5 is a zone 2025-42, a zone change request from single-family residential to LC. Staff recommendation is to deny, so we will be hearing case 4.5. And is the applicant or agent available for this case? Great, thank you. Item 4.6, zone 2025-43, a zone change request from TF3 to LC, roughly South Gordon Avenue and South Edwards Avenue. Is there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.6 to consent. So I make a motion to approve items 4.2 and 4.6. So we have a motion by Commissioner Fry with the second by Commissioner Miles to approve. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. So we will now recess to the Board of Zoning Appeals agenda, which is the blue sheet in your packet. First item on that will be to approve the prior BZA meeting minutes from September 25th. I show that Commissioner Miles was absent, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner McKay.
Second.
The second by Commissioner Warren. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Abstain.
And one abstention. So motion passes unanimously with the one abstention. Item 2, BZA 2025-59. It's a variance request in the city for minimum lot size requirement. The staff recommendation is to approve because the variance meets all 5 criteria. With that being said, is there anyone on the commission who would still like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, I motion to approve the variance request.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with a second by Commissioner Aldrich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. We will now adjourn the BZA zoning appeals agenda and return back to our regular agenda, which the first item to be heard should be item 4.2. Am I correct? 3 point, no? Pardon? Yes, we did. 4.3. Do I hear 4.4? All right. Christina, welcome.
Thank you. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present PUD 2025-00020. The applicant for this case has 2 requests. First is to amend the allowed uses within the Equestrian Estates Planned Unit Development, or PUD number 12, and to create parcel 5 within PUD number 12 with its own provisions. The subject site is 10 acres in size, located on the southeast corner of East Harry and South 127th Street East, and is currently undeveloped. The purpose of the applicant's requests is for residential development, which would include to allow single-family dwellings, duplexes, multifamily dwellings, group homes, group residences, and assisted living facilities. So the subject site is currently within parcel 2. We've printed out the current PUD before it's been revised. That should be distributed on your desks there. So that's currently within parcel 2, which allows single-family dwellings with a gross density of 1.4 to 1.8 dwelling units per acre and a net density of 3.31 to 4.28 dwelling units per acre. And this is mostly because, as you can see in the northwest corner here, we have a floodplain. So the requested PUD amendment would create a new parcel, also known as parcel 5, which is outlined on the aerial map here. And that would allow for single-family dwellings, duplexes, multifamily dwellings, group homes, group residences, and assisted living facilities. The gross density would increase from 7.5 to 9.5 dwelling units per acre, so the net density would also increase. So the site plan, the applicant submitted a separate site plan on top of the PUD. And so the top half of the parcel would be reserved for 2-family and multifamily dwellings. The south half of the parcel would be reserved for group residence limited. They also modified the parking requirements so that provision 6B allows 1 parking space per 2 dwelling units, plus 1 parking space per staff member. So Section 4A of the Unified Zoning Code normally requires 1 parking space for group residence limited. And the applicant, during my phone call with them, has indicated the reason for this is that the majority of the residents in the group residence that you see on the bottom half of this page will be non-drivers. For the proposed duplexes and triplexes, there will be 1 parking stall for each unit within the 2-family and multifamily dwellings, and this is less than what is required in the Unified Zoning Code. And then you can see the parking lot here for group residence limited. Staff recommends adding a provision that the applicant be required to install landscaping per the Wichita Landscape Code. And then signage would be under General Condition 6A of the PUD document. So that's 1 monument sign at each major entrance and a 3rd monument sign at or near the intersection of Harry and North 127th Street East. And this is actually more restrictive than what is allowed in limited commercial zoning. So the character of the neighborhood is low-density residential. To the north, we see limited commercial district and is developed with a platted reserve. To the south and east, within PUD number 12, is developed with a manufactured home and equestrian arena. To the west, across 127th Street East, is zoned limited commercial and single family and developed with single family dwellings. So if you look at this aerial map here, everything that you see in red is zoned limited commercial, everything in white you see is zoned single family, and gray is within the planned unit development. The subject site is not platted. A little bit of case history here. So the zone change request to PUD was approved in the year 2000, and then in 2001 it was annexed into the city of Wichita. In 2022, there was an amendment request to allow warehouse self-service storage on what is now parcel 5, and this application was denied by the Wichita City Council. And then in 2024, what is currently parcel 2, the Wichita City Council approved an amendment to allow a single manufactured home on site. The requested zone change is in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan, namely the Wichita Future Growth Concept Map. It identifies the area to be appropriate for new residential uses. However, it also identifies it to be appropriate for agricultural or vacant uses. In terms of the plan's locational guidelines, which are some guidelines that provide decision-making framework regarding land use changes, they state that development should occur where necessary supporting infrastructure and services exist or are planned for extension concurrently with the development. And the applicant has concurrently submitted a plat in which there will be proposed infrastructure and extension of services. The plan also aims to support expansion of existing uses to adjacent areas. And then if we go back to the aerial map, you'll see that there's a portion that is in yellow, and those are developed with duplexes, and then that is 2-family zoning. As you can see up here, we see some duplexes, and then where it's LC, there's some duplexes as well. So the applicant is proposing some duplexes on site for this planned unit development. Staff is recommending approval of the application subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. And this is based on the golden factors, which are also listed in your staff report. So I received some written comments before Thursday of last week. Those are included in the report. I've received 2 additional comments from the public in opposition to the amendment. Those were submitted via email to the commissioners earlier this week. And let's go to some of the site photos, please. This is looking east towards the site. It was a little difficult to take pictures because 127th and Harry are both very busy intersections, even at 10 o'clock in the morning. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. You can see the duplexes that I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the site. This is where the floodplain is. Next slide, please. And this is looking west away from the site. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Can we go back to the PUD showing all the parcels as
Sure.
requested? Showing the new parcel 5. So parcel 2 will remain as SF5, is that correct?
So the underlying zoning is PUD, but the allowed uses will be single-family dwellings. That's correct.
And parcel 3, that is still the,
Manufactured home in the equestrian arena.
okay,
Yes,
thank you. So that, none of that changes.
correct.
It's just the use for parcel 5 that is being asked to
Yes.
adjust.
But the size of parcel 2 and parcel 3, they changed to create parcel
Correct.
5.
Just want to make sure everybody's
Yep.
understanding that. Any other questions from the commission? Thank you, Christina. We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward. You'll have up to 10 minutes to present your case, and please give us your name and address and your role for the record.
Come on. Good afternoon. Rebecca Milius, PEC 303 South Topeka, agent for the applicant, and I do have Peter here as well. He'll speak in just a moment. First and foremost, just want to address that we are in agreement with staff comment. Christina did a great job putting the report together and summarizing those revisions, so we do appreciate the time invested there. We're comfortable with it. We're excited to see the development happening, and we think it's a much-needed investment of infrastructure in the intersection. So I'm going to stand back and let Peter give you a little bit of an overview of what the project is going to look like and some of the efforts that have occurred so far, and then we'd be happy to answer any questions.
How do we progress through the slides?
Just your name and address for
Name
the
and
record,
address.
sir.
So you'll just ask for the slide to be advanced. It's controlled in the back room.
Okay. My name is Peter Ratcliffe, address 1611 North Moseley.
Could you move the microphone a little bit closer to your face?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Peter Ratcliffe. My address is 1611 North Moseley Street. And I here represent the owner and builder. As you've seen, the plan is to build assisted living, 55-plus care home residences. They are residences, obviously, rather than strictly businesses, so they will look like homes. There's a site plan that we've got shows that the larger homes, where there'll be 12 residents, as stated earlier, non-driving residents per home, and they will be very high-end finished houses. They're stone and high-end siding. They're sloped. They're modelled on an English country village, which is why it's laid out this way. It's meant to have winding roads through it. It's meant to be attractive. It's meant to be a nice community place to live rather than strictly a box. And then the style of the buildings themselves are modelled somewhat on Equestrian Estates single-family homes. They're made from the same materials. They're similar in size. They're similar in height. And they're similar in colour. So they'll look like the same buildings to the east and to the southeast. And there's an example. That's the one of the larger buildings. That one will have 12 residents in it. And as it shows, it's partially sided in stone, which is Flint Hills grey. So we're using locally sourced materials. It's a Kansas-sourced stone, which is also used in other buildings in the area. Sloped shingled roofs, so it looks like a nice single-family dwelling, only marginally larger. Next slide, please. This is an example of the duplexes we put on. They're two-bedroom duplexes, not strictly to put more people in them. There'll really be one resident per unit. But the second one is more for if they want an office or an art room or somewhere to do their hobbies. Every unit has its own garage, so everyone will park indoors, not just outside on the street. So there'll be very few cars parked outside. And they're finished in a similar architectural style to the larger homes. They've got Flint Hills grey stone, they've got nice quality siding and sloped shingled roofs. They're only to be used as a senior living facility. They're only for 55 plus. There'll be no students, no younger people, no families running around. However, we do hope to bring people out visiting. People want to have their families visiting. We hope there's a mix of all ages coming to visit residents, but living there is just 55 plus. Next slide, please. To preempt this and to explain what we're doing and what we want to do, rather than just wait till the last minute and spring on people, we've been reaching out to the community to explain what our desire is and explain what it will look like. So we met with the owners of Eagle View Equestrian, which is the horse training facility that uses most of that area, and they own the large horse training facility to the due south. And they're fully on board with the idea. They want to integrate their horse training and their horse exercising along with our residents, so much that they want to have a horse path that will go round the north and west side of our facility and then back to theirs. They're so on board, they agreed to give us an extra 2.5 acres so we could extend the site, which makes our site a little less dense, so it will be more attractive, and it means we've got no need to push anything towards the floodplain. The floodplain is a beautiful wooded area which will stay untouched where it is, and that also means that from the road you won't actually see any of these buildings, you'll just see a woodland. So from the north no one will see anything, and from the northeast or northwest no one will see anything there hidden behind woodland. Following that, we met with 2 of the Equestrian Estates HOA board members, again to further explain what we were doing. We brought some drawings and some layouts and explained what our desire was and what our aims were. That seemed to go down well. They suggested we met with as many homeowners association Equestrian Estates residents as possible. So we went to their quarterly meeting on September 28th and took storyboards that essentially show the same as this slideshow to show renderings of what the buildings look like, explain what we want to do in terms of services, what we can offer to the community, not just to our residents. That was attended pretty well, and I believe it went down well. It was accepted well. Following that, there was a couple more questions. Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham had questions, and there was a couple of people who weren't able to make that meeting, and they wanted to see what we had to say too. So we met again on September 30th and went through in a little more detail with some handouts of the same slideshow again. Next slide, please. This is really just a topological representation of the site. It rises in elevation up towards the south and east. So if you were an Equestrian Estates resident, you will almost not see these buildings because we're on the far side of the slope as it slopes down towards 127th Street. So we'll be obscured from view from the northwest, from the north and the northeast by the woodland, and we'll be obscured from view from the east and the southeast by the fact that there's a slope there, and we'll be obscured from view from the south by the fact that there's a large horse training facility there, which is significantly taller and wider than our buildings. So our buildings will not really be visible to surrounding neighborhoods. Next slide, please. This is more a summary of what we'd like to offer. Obviously, we'll take care of our residents on site and give all the services that an aging population would need, but we'd like to support the surrounding community as much as we possibly can. So if people in the surrounding half-mile, maybe mile neighborhood have, for example, surgeries, knees, hips, elbows, shoulders that they need outpatient therapy for, we would gladly help, we'd like to help by having an outpatient therapy room that residents can come over, use, get treated, get rehab, and get taken care of there. Would be that way we would pass the community rather than simply be alongside. We also propose, obviously we're feeding our residents in our large buildings. We offer food to the independent livings. If independent livings want to take care of themselves entirely, they can. If they want to have washing done, we can offer that service. If they want to have meals provided, we can offer that service. And to that end, if there's residents in the local community who would like a Meals on Wheels style program, we would love to offer that to help local residents and take care of more elders in this area if possible. Going along with the rest of these points, Medicare and Medicaid is kind of a minefield of paperwork. We have experts in their fields of how to file that paperwork, how to chase it up, how to progress it, how to get it taken care of. We will gladly help local community residents as well as our own residents. all these points are basically that way too. We will have visiting doctors and nurses for our residents to do regular checkups, blood pressure checkups, and just wellness checks. And we can provide that facility and service also to a local community. Same with support groups and like, it's that people who don't know necessarily what to do with their own elder, their mother, their aunt, their grandmother, their relatives who they don't know what to do, they can come to us for advice, and we have experts in those fields too who could help the community at large rather than simply our own site. And then lastly, we'd really like to have a community garden where people can come and grow their vegetables. They can take them away with them, or they can help feed our residents with local, organically grown, fresh produce grown on site. Next slide, please. In continuation from that, we've got health education, so we have experts in almost every field on site. So we'd gladly like to share that expertise, training, help, guidance to the community as well as just our own residents. Technology being a big deal, that people want to be in touch with their families who aren't necessarily local residents of Wichita, who need FaceTime and email and the like. We'll have a technology room dedicated to that where we can obviously take care of our residents, telephone use, computer use, tablet use, but we'll gladly take local community and help out with IT tech help there also. We'd also like to help with giving out volunteer internship opportunities. The more you can get different generations involved, the better, the stronger the community can be. So not just our elders, but local community people from middle-aged to younger again, to school-age people. South High School is less than a mile from us, and that we'd love to offer them internship or a volunteer so they can learn hopefully a future trade, maybe want to become a nurse or administrator, and guide them in their future careers and mixed generations. Sort of lastly, the shuttle services, we hope in not on day one, but later on, to be able to have a shuttle service where we could pick people up and take them there. We could do that for our own residents and again for nearby community residents.
Sir, that's your allotted time. Can you wrap up?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Summary is really just that we would like to help our own site. We'd also like to take the surrounding community and offer as much help to residents as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you. Stand by. We'll see if there's questions from the commission. Mr. Aldrich.
Yes, sir. Do you, I'm sure you've read staff recommendations and comments, including the text on the PUD. Do you agree with all staff's comments and recommendations?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Zimbelman.
Does your group currently have any of these developments in working now, or is this your first try at this?
This will be our first development. My business partner currently runs assisted living nursing home on a much larger scale than this. This would be a scale down. So he has 12 years of nursing home history and 20 years of taking care of seniors generally history. So yes, we've done it before, but we simply haven't owned them before.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you. Stand by. We're going to open it up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this case? Please come to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
3 minutes. My name is John Pike, P-I-K-E, 13050 East Harry. Excuse me, we're directly across
To the
north from Harry. On your plats, I think you see the circle driveway. That's us. What we've got, Peter and his associate were kind enough to come in and speak with several of us. This is not a personal thing. They were very nice. They brought a good presentation. But what we've got here, bottom line, is we have a very, very quiet, peaceful, pretty neighborhood. They mentioned that that's what they want. It's so pretty and so nice. They want to come in and add higher density, more houses, and more traffic to it. I realize, the city or the commission report identifies us as a low density neighborhood. That's one of the reasons most of us live there and bought there. I've been there 14 years. That's what attracted us. And it's getting a little, this is not our first rodeo where we come to you or the city or the county and say, people love this place so much they want to move in and change it, which we don't understand. You identify low density, but in your report, you say that it'll bring additional diverse housing, which is generally a public gain. The public doesn't live in our neighborhood. What we have here is gentlemen, and they are gentlemen. We got no problem with Peter. They don't live there. They are not going to live there. They see a business opportunity. They spent a lot of money to buy this, knowing full well the zoning would not allow them to do it. So they're either very trusting or something. What we hate to see is, let me rephrase it. The Planning Commission, it seems like, typically plans how to build stuff. For example, the self-storage units that were voted down unanimously by the city were approved here and recommended to pass. Who plans for us who bought, depending on, after reading the zoning, reading the floodplains, eyeballing the neighborhood, we know that change can happen, but is it possible that planning involves preserving a thriving, very attractive neighborhood where the public is not going to live and the people doing the plan will not be there? We have had earnest statements, Peter made some, how pretty it will all be. It's not that I don't trust them, but the duplexes across Harry were advertised to be very different than what was built.
Sir, your time is up. Can you wrap up?
Appreciate it. Yeah, 3 isn't very long to
Policy.
but I do appreciate it. And I
Stand by.
would just like to see it not approved.
Stand by for questions, sir.
Okay.
I would ask you to, using the mouse on the computer.
Oh, yeah,
Point
okay.
to where your residence is.
I am right here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the house.
Right.
My property line is the creek.
Gotcha.
It runs around the
All right, I think we have a question from Commissioner Aldrich.
far away.
Sir, when you purchased the property,
Yes.
did you ever stop to think that maybe all that property at some point might get developed?
Which property?
Any of that property,
You're
right?
talking about equestrian across
Sure.
from me or my place?
No.
Because I have 7
across-
acres in there.
Right, across the street, your
Yes,
place, because-
I know it can happen. In fact, when I stood up and opposed the storage unit, and someone on the commission asked, I said, well, if this was houses, how would you feel? And I said, well, I wouldn't be thrilled, but they'd be houses. I realize these are living. This isn't a commercial. And we've been assured by Peter that there would be no retail, that sort of thing. I don't think we heard anything about gardens being planted and whatever.
Oh, my point is that if you look at the aerial right
Yes.
there, at one time, there was nothing there. And
That's
it's all
true.
It's all been developed.
That's true.
That's what we do. And, the only way to stop it is to buy the property yourself.
I completely understand what you're saying. I do. And I've told my wife someday, if equestrian decides they don't want to be in the horse business anymore, and they want to sell, we'll have to accept that. I would hope if they ever did it, they'd put in some nice homes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's all.
Any other questions for Mr. Pike? Seeing none, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for your comments. Next public speaker?
My name is Mike Cunningham, 12602 East OC Street. And I am in this lot here, directly to the west of the proposed site.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
My wife and I have lived in our house for almost 20 years now. And as John said, and I won't repeat all the things he said, he spoke very well about our feelings as well about this property and the reasons we don't want to see this go forward. We love it out there. We've raised 8 kids there. Now we've got 7 grandkids that we're raising, and it's because of the community that we live in, and we just feel like this is an unneeded thing in this area. I realize that nursing homes and assisted living is a needed thing, but it seemed kind of forward-thinking that these guys bought the property without knowing whether this would even get approved or not. Another issue we had is, or have with it, is the fact that this was a shooting range at one time, and I believe that if they were to dig here and start moving dirt around, there's going to be a lot of lead contamination brought to the surface and washed into the creeks and nearby. The water, when it runs off the hill during a heavy rainstorm, rushes across 127th, across my property in a low area. And I worry about the contamination to my property as well. And I just would ask that you guys would maybe have some questions about that issue as well, because in the past, people wanted to put a mobile home park up in there, and it was denied from the county because of the fact that it was so much lead on the property. But I would just ask you guys to reject this whole proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Stand by. Any questions for Mr. Cunningham? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Next public speaker? Anyone else? Okay, we'll bring the applicant and agent back for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
Thank you. Just a quick note, primarily in regards to traffic. As we're all aware, the current allowed uses are single-family residential developments. The projected layout that is on the currently approved PUD has you at 40 single-family individual homes right now. As Peter addressed, this is a senior living institution of sorts, right? We're talking mixed-use development, but primarily seniors. And so even though we have the 60 units at the south, the majority of those are non-drivers. So the only usage that you're going to be seeing from a driving perspective is the 26 units in the duplexes and triplexes at the north end. So as the development occurs, I don't anticipate that traffic is going to be significant. I know both the arterial streets are heavily used. That's why the city is making an investment in Harry Street right now in designing that reconstruction. So we just hope that you'll consider the community-wide benefit of the development of this type of facility in your considerations, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Commissioner Nix.
Do you have any comments about lead contamination?
I do not. I am not an environmental scientist, but I can assure you that that will be fully vetted before any dirt is moved.
Next question. Anyone else on the commission? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We will now, yes, Philip.
Rebecca, before you go too far, sir, during the presentation, there was a couple uses that were brought up that planning staff was not aware of: the occupational therapy, outpatient, and the Medicaid, Medicare Resource Center might need to fall under medical and/or office uses, to where that might need to be a revision of the PUD text, because those are currently not included.
Okay.
Was
in
that
your...
Yeah, was it an intent for the applicant to, or was it just something that they were thinking about? I thought I heard it as more of a...
It's more of an offer than a guarantee. So that's great intel, and obviously we would have to have some follow-up conversations and potentially bring a different revision if we're going to utilize those or make those happen.
So yeah, you understand
So
right now it's not an allowed use
Right.
with this PUD.
If it's not approved as it is,
Right.
if it's not considered today, then they would have to come back and
Right.
revise, yes.
You and your client both understand that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Joe Johnson.
Southeast High School.
Mr. Johnson, would you use your microphone, please?
Sorry, Southeast High School. Where's it located?
It is.
You designed it, Joe.
It's off of 143rd, so it's southeast.
It's
Southeast up
143rd
here.
and Pawnee, so 3 miles away.
Yeah. No, it doesn't show up. It's a bit further away, but close.
Oh, maybe it's just a mile to the
It's
south.
southeast by southeast.
Yeah, mile to the
For the
south.
record, Joe is retired, correct? Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate it. All right, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion and action. Commissioner Aldrich.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the POD as given per staff recommendations and comments.
I will second. Unless you wanted to. I'll go ahead and let you check. I didn't see your light.
I was gonna second, and I'd just make the comment that this is an area that, with what else has been going on around it, would be available for just regular duplex in the near future. What's going in is gonna be a lot less traffic, a lot less congestion, and a lot less common worries about safety. So I would think that this would be an excellent fit for the property.
Appreciate the extra comments. So we have a motion by Commissioner Aldrich with a second by Commissioner Chuck Warren. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Brad Etherly, MAPD. We are discussing case PUD 2025-00021. For this case, the applicant is requesting an amendment to the Crown Uptown Theater Plan Unit Development, which is PUD number 55. And that amendment includes 4 different items. 1, to increase the capacity of the theater from 850 to what is allowed by the International Building Code and/or the International Fire Code. 2, to allow the building coverage area to be set by code. 3, to allow the maximum gross floor area to be set by code. And 4, to allow the maximum gross floor area ratio to be set by code. The subject site is 0.53 acres in size and is generally located at 3207 East Douglas Avenue. The PUD was established in 2017. At that time, the PUD stated that the use of an event center shall be limited to 850 persons, and that the development standards for parcel 1, which is where the theater is, would be 1, maximum building coverage would be 65%, maximum gross floor area would be 65%, and the floor area ratio would be 65%. The on-site parking to the east of the building has been in existence since at least 1938, and the use and the parking were established prior to off-street parking requirements codified by the Unified Zoning Code. So PUD 55 does require a minimum of 17 paved off-street parking spaces for all uses on parcel 1. Staff is recommending modifications to the PUD that limit the location and percentage of the site that can be used for parking. So I'll just kind of note that that's in general provision number 2, and it states that any new parking shall be less than 50% of the surface area and shall not be adjacent to the East Douglas Avenue unless parking is provided within a parking structure. The applicant is requesting that each of the 4 provisions mentioned earlier be amended so that they be set by code, which would be, the capacity would be set by the International Building Code and the International Fire Code. The general provisions of the PUD state that setbacks would be per the CBD, Central Business District, and the CBD allows for 0-foot setbacks, which means that buildings can take up the entire footprint of a lot. Removing the maximum building coverage, the maximum gross floor area, and the floor area ratio restrictions would allow a new building to conform to the CBD district regarding setbacks should the existing building be demolished. The character of the neighborhood is mixed between commercial and residential. Properties to the north are zoned GC, general commercial, and are developed with commercial storefronts. Properties to the south are zoned LC, limited commercial, and B, multifamily residential, and are developed with multifamily dwellings and a duplex. Property to the east is zoned GC and is developed with an art gallery. Property to the west is zoned GC and developed with a commercial storefront. A little bit of case history on the property. On January 22nd, 1930, the subject site was platted as part of the Uptown Addition. Again, in 2017, the Crown Uptown Theater PUD was established, and no other zoning cases are associated with this property that have been approved. In 2024, the applicant did apply for an amendment to the PUD to allow the occupancy capacity of the building to be set at 2,066. At the January 9th, 2025 MAPC meeting, the applicant requested to amend his request so that the capacity would be set by the City of Wichita's Fire Marshal. That was ultimately denied at City Council on February 4th, 2025. And then on August 14th of this year, the MAPC reviewed a request from the applicant to determine if an application could be filed less than 1 year after being denied by the Wichita City Council, and the MAPC did vote in the affirmative for that. So here we are. As far as public services go, the subject site has access to the East Douglas Avenue. All municipal services currently serve the site, and Wichita Transit provides regular transit service at East Douglas Avenue at the northeast corner of Hillside Avenue, and at East Douglas Avenue and Rutan Avenue. These stops are also served by the Q Line, which is a free weekday, evening, and Saturday route. As far as conformance to the plans and policies, the requested zone change is in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan, which recommends the subject site is appropriate for new residential. The plan does define new residential as areas of land that will likely be developed or redeveloped by 2035, with uses predominantly found in the residential category. However, pockets of commercial uses likely will be developed within this area as well, based upon market-driven location factors. And obviously, this area along East Douglas Avenue is an established commercial area, and the request is consistent with the plan. As far as locational guidelines go, under the heading of development pattern, Guideline 2A encourages infill development that maximizes public investment in existing and planned infrastructure and services. And we took a look at the request to increase the capacity as a chance that patrons could use the variety of transportation modes that are in the city, including the Q Line, as well as other rideshare companies, as opposed to purchasing adjacent property to create additional parking areas. The staff recommended provisions of the PUD also discourage future auto-centric development. As far as Wichita Places for People plan, the proposed PUD amendment promotes walkable mixed-use development. It's important for walkable places to reduce the requirement of off-street parking, maximize the utilization of on-street parking, and encourage opportunities for shared, remote, or public parking. In addition to the normal bus service, the Q Line provides the free transit service from this area of College Hill all the way to Delano. And then finally, looking at the newly established College Hill neighborhood plan, the future land use map in that plan identifies the subject site to be appropriate for recreation entertainment, which is defined as the recreation entertainment use category includes assembly uses for entertainment-oriented activities. Preferred uses include performance venues, movie theaters, or reception hall for private leased events such as wedding receptions, meetings, banquets, and other similar events. Auto-centric development that prioritizes parking and vehicular uses is not appropriate in the recreation entertainment district. New uses that would encourage or require large amounts of parking should be discouraged. New construction should be sensitive to the historic development pattern, site configuration, and building materials. So staff recommends that conditions in the PUD not prioritize parking and not be utilized solely as a parking lot in order to reflect the plan. And then staff also encourages that any future development of the site use similar building materials to the existing structures along East Douglas in the immediate vicinity. The staff has not recommended this as a condition of the PUD, but a consideration for the applicant based on the College Hill plan. And then lastly, the locational guidelines of the College Hill plan under the heading Land Use Compatibility, guideline number 7 states that the preservation of historic resources is particularly encouraged, including adaptive reuse in accordance with the land use guide map and locational guidelines. So if we can go to the site pics. This is an interior picture looking from the stage. Next picture. This is an interior picture looking at the current balcony. Next picture. And this is looking away from the balcony. Next picture. This is looking south into the site. Next picture. This is looking west to the east side of the building. Next picture. This is looking north away from the site. Next picture. This is looking east down Douglas. Next picture. This is looking at the art gallery next door. Next picture. This is looking south as best I could away from the picture. And these are old pictures, so I don't believe that this container is there anymore. Next picture. And this is looking west down Douglas, and I believe that is the last picture. Staff does recommend approval subject to the recommended PUD text and the conditions listed in the staff report. I will note that 3 public comments have been placed in front of you for your ability to read them. And also the memo from the fire marshal from January of this year, basically stating that the International Fire Code and Building Code will be met, and that the MABCD, the fire department, and the applicant will need to get together to set that occupancy level. And I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate the presentation. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, appreciate it. We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward and present your case. You will have 10 minutes if you just give us your name and address for the record.
Hello, thanks again. Mike Brown, 3215 East 61st Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm here for any questions that you may have. I don't have anything else really to say about it.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Aldrich.
Mr. Brown, I know you've read the conditions from the staff report, so I'm just going to ask a question to you. Do you support all the recommendations that staff has put on the report for purpose of approval?
Yes, sir. I don't have any issue with the recommendations.
Including any revised text on the PUD?
I'm sorry?
Including the PUD?
Right, whatever they had added to that we reviewed at the DAB meeting that referenced the setbacks or surface area for parking, correct?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other commissioners? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll now open it up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public? Please go to the podium. Give us your name. Yes. Go to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes. You might need to adjust the microphone a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Susan Miner, 303 Circle Drive. I oppose this PUD, and you should not assume that there is little neighborhood opposition simply because we were not aware of this renewed effort to increase the theater capacity. One aspect of the PUD in conflict with the College Hill Neighborhood Plan, which you have approved, is allowing the expanded building for footprint on the lot. This only encourages the prospect of demolishing the existing building and replacing it with a structure even closer to the lot lines, none of which would be compatible with the College Hill plan. The staff report suggests that theater patrons could use the queue line or ride sharing rather than needing parking spaces for their vehicles. This is an unproven and highly unlikely assumption that hundreds of theater goers will do so at any time soon, especially given the large numbers of their vehicles crowding the neighborhood on nights when the theater is open. There is not curb space at the single entrance for rideshare vehicles to unload and pick up large numbers of passengers, and there is not adequate safe space for crowds to wait for the rides outside the theater. Equally unworkable is the owner's plan to utilize parking lots across the busy intersection at Hillside and Douglas. This ignores the danger to crowds of pedestrians late at night crossing an intersection where a pedestrian was killed by a motorist in broad daylight in 2020. Since most businesses refuse to offer shared parking due to liability concerns, it's unclear when the owner could file with the Register of Deeds the required written agreement for parking no further than 600 feet away, one space for every 3 theater seats. Asking the fire marshal to certify his building as A1 to eliminate the requirement for fire suppression is another unverifiable part of the owner's plan, in addition to the unspecified capacity that fire code will allow. All of this uncertainty convinced half of the DAB 1 members to vote against this PUD. The elephant in the room remains Mr. Brown's repeated threats to demolish the historic building that he claims to value if he does not get his way. Instead, he could, of course, accept Mr. Holt's offer to buy and preserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our speaker? Seeing none, next speaker. Anyone else? Please go to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record.
Surely.
You'll have 3 minutes.
All right. My name is Thomas Leon Ennis. I live at 303 Circle Drive, about 2.5 blocks from the theater. I have 2 questions about the staff report. First, it states that this PUD is in partial compliance with the comprehensive plan, pointing out that the growth map designates the site as new residential. It is hard to see how bringing hundreds of additional vehicles onto residential streets contributes to increasing residential use. Second, it suggests that theater patrons use the queue line. The queue line does not run on Sunday, and residents who do not live near the queue line and would have to drive to the route pickup would be more likely to drive to their destination instead. There are significant public safety concerns with the owner's plan. Seeking building reclassification to avoid installing fire suppression blatantly disregards the safety of his customers. Flammable materials inside a brick building still present a safety risk. Expecting his customers, many of whom will have been enjoying alcoholic beverages, to walk at night across busy arterial streets to parking lots behind commercial buildings is heedless. So there is no sound basis on which to approve this PUD. There is no capacity determination or reclassification decision from the fire marshal. There is no verified parking plan supporting this PUD until the owner files written agreements with businesses to make their parking lots available on a regular basis. Public safety has not been responsibly addressed in the plan. You should either deny or postpone any approval. And I would like to thank Mr. Wadle for his patience and professionalism in presenting and explaining this case on Monday's DAB 1 meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our speaker? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Ennis. Next speaker? Anyone else? All right. Sorry, I didn't see you over there.
I'm tiny,
Name and
but
address.
mighty, so. Good afternoon. My name is Amy McCaffrey. I live at 414 North Broadview. I'm a proud resident of College Hill, a local business owner directly connected to the building of the Crown Theater, and a mother who raised her child in this neighborhood. So you could say that your decision today impacts every facet of my life, where I live, where I work, and where I've built a community rooted in safety, character, and connection. Your mission is clear: to guide the growth and development of Wichita and Sedgwick County, to plan responsibly, protect the public welfare, and ensure that progress strengthens communities rather than dismantles them. Today, that mission is being tested. The investor at the Crown Theater is asking this commission to remove occupancy language from the planned unit development, to strip away the very safeguards that protect our neighborhoods as if the building exists in a vacuum, without residents, other local businesses, or families surrounding it. But development doesn't exist in isolation. It lives in the middle of our communities, in the heart of College Hill, one of the most historic and community-minded neighborhoods in Wichita. To remove occupancy language while keeping the same 17-space parking exemption granted in 2017 for an 850-person dinner theater is not planning. It's reckless. And those 17 spaces, they don't even exist in practice. They're filled with tour buses and semi-trucks on event nights. So now this site is trying to host large-scale concerts, drawing thousands of people, yet still claiming that same minimal parking exception. If you erase the occupancy limit, you must also erase the parking exemption that justified it. You cannot rewrite one half of a safeguard and still claim this PUD protects public welfare. Doing so would be unsafe, inequitable, and deeply irresponsible. Let's be honest. We know what this application is truly about: increasing occupancy without any forethought into a parking plan or public safety. And in doing so, it will certainly flood an already flooded residential neighborhood with crowds waiting for ride shares late into the night, spilling into driveways, alleyways, and front yards. How many lives must be disrupted before this city recognizes the harm? How many people assaulted while waiting alone in the dark? How many homes broken into, cars vandalized, or small businesses pushed out by the chaos of the over-occupancy? We've lost 3 leases during this. Is that kind of planning Wichita stands for, or are we here to protect our citizens from it? This is not local stewardship. This is an out-of-state investor manipulating the system, erasing restrictions that every other business must follow, and in doing so, threatening the fabric of one of Wichita's most beloved neighborhoods. If he wants to change the use of the PUD, let him file for an all-new PUD, one that includes parking studies, safety plans, fire and emergency access, and an honest reflection of his intended operations. But do not selectively erase the very language written to protect public safety and neighborhood harmony. MAPC, you exist to guide, to plan, and to protect. Please do not let this decision undermine those principles.
Ms.
College
McCaffrey?
Hill deserves better.
Ms.
Wichita
McCaffrey?
deserves better.
Your
Thank
time-
you.
Thank you.
Yes.
We have a question for you. Commissioner Joe Johnson.
Yes, I missed.
Use your microphone, Joe.
Joe, that's okay. I can hear you.
We're broadcast on
Oh,
social
okay.
media.
Which is your business?
Use
We
the mouse.
own the buildings that are,
Can you use the mouse?
oh, sorry. This is the Crown right here. The Designs for Life, what was the Flying Pig and what was Designs for Life, and also the corner that was the Enchanted Mermaid and Terra Skin Studio here.
The buildings on both sides of the
Yes,
town.
correct.
Thank you.
And I'm also by business a realtor who is an expert in the area I live in, so I sell a lot of homes and represent a huge amount of families that move in and out of the area.
Now, the parking that you provide for your 2 buildings,
Yes.
is it totally adequate?
For our leases, I'll let him speak to it more because he's the property manager.
That'll be a separate speaker.
Yes, a separate speaker.
Right. But you have on-site parking for your businesses
Yes. To code as well.
to code?
Yes.
I saw a question down here from Commissioner Williams Bay. That was answered? Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. McCaffrey. You're
No,
good.
me? What do I say?
You're good.
I'm
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, great, thanks.
Next speaker? Anyone else? Okay.
Just before my time starts, set these up real quick. Higher?
My name's Stephen Holt. I live at 414 North Broadview and own the properties on both sides of the Crown Theater. There are a few key points I want to make. First, I just want to note how refreshing it was to see a developer proactively meet with surrounding businesses and neighbors and express a genuine desire to be a productive member of that community, as we just heard in the previous PUD. Very refreshing to hear, as we've had none of that interaction here. We've heard throughout this process, one of the reasons to cater to Mr. Brown's demands and threats is because we need to be pro-business. Well, what about all the businesses that existed before Mr. Brown came along? Should being pro-business mean to the detriment of surrounding businesses? And speaking of detriment, I want to discuss the golden rules. Approval or denial is supposed to be guided by these rules. Rule 3 focuses on the extent to which removal of restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. It further states that the focus should be on facts, not fears. Well, I own the buildings on both sides of the Crown, so I feel pretty qualified to speak on this matter. If you'll take a look at my exhibits, you'll note that my parking lot has been routinely stolen and blocked. In the 2 years of Mr. Brown's ownership, I've lost 3 out of my 4 tenants due to them not being able to park in their parking lot. Now, I'm not sure your definition of detrimentally affected, but that definitely meets mine. And this is happening with current restrictions in place. Logic suggests it will only get worse, not better, if more restrictions are lifted. Rule 5 states the protection of public health, safety, and welfare is the basis for zoning. The protection of public health, safety, and welfare is the basis for zoning. The owner is requesting to not have to be concerned where people park, to not have to put in fire suppression equipment, to not put in front of any governing body a crowd management or security plan. So can this body honestly say that approving this request is protecting public health, safety, and welfare? Rule 8 deals with the opposition or support of neighbors. Just like last time this issue came up, regardless of MAPC recommendation today, we plan to file a formal protest. You'll see the picture with all the red buildings in front of you there. In the protest area, we have approximately 80% of surrounding property owners who oppose. Not the threshold amount that's required, not 51%, which would be a majority, 80%. That's 4 out of 5 opposed. That's a really, really big number. I sit on the College Hill Steering Committee, and our committee over a year and a half helped create and guide the formation of the College Hill Neighborhood Overlay Plan. That plan has now been adopted. That plan does desire to promote a more walkable neighborhood, but the spirit of that ideal is important. It's utterly foolish to say or imply that the fact our plan desires a more walkable neighborhood is thus a license to eliminate parking requirements entirely. I would argue, may I have 1 more minute, please?
I will grant up to 1 more minute.
Thank you. I would argue the parking requirements for the Crown are already incredibly reduced. The current ratio of 850 occupancy to 17 spots is 50 to 1. Code for this use would normally be 2 to 1. And even the 50 to 1 is generous, because if you'll look at that picture, you'll see that the 17 parking space parking lot is entirely blocked off for public use and used for tour buses and concert event people. This request is asking that the building have a capacity rating based solely on building square footage and use. So effectively, this request is asking this body pretend this building is in a vacuum, but it's not. It's in the heart of a residential neighborhood, not a central business district where residences are few and far between and where residents signed up for those kinds of things. And it's not surrounded on all sides by public parking lots, as is the case with other nearby venues. The key word in the name of this body is planning. You are being asked to approve first and hope and pray for a plan later. Well, that's not planning at all, is it? That's reacting. That's chaos. Don't bring chaos to this neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. We have a question for you, Commissioner Williams-Bay.
Sir, could you point out with the mouse the location of your parking lots for your 2 buildings?
So this right here
Off of Hillside.
is a parking lot. This is our building here, and this parking lot is directly south evidenced further by this photo here. And you will see in this photo on one of the event nights, the Crown completely blocked our parking lot unlawfully without our permission with this semi, and in fact even blocked a lane of hillside. So, and then we also, this is the Crown here, to the east, this is the 17 space parking lot. We possess a perpetual easement for our businesses to use that lot as well. So on a day where like this, where it's blocked off, that also is against the easement language that we possess that allows our customers to park in that parking lot as well. So effectively, both of ours, 12 spaces here and 17 here.
Any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Warren. It's on.
Listening to your argument here, the idea of having enough parking for the building cannot be made in any form. That the building would have to be destroyed and made 1/4 of the size it is now in order to allow the existing parking for it. So would you be opposed to them tearing the building down and going back in with a building 1/4 of the size?
The historical lover in me would be opposed. I represent a group of neighborhood leaders who are prepared, if it were to be made available, are prepared to purchase the Crown, designate it historical, and operate it as a nonprofit facility. That being said, we recognize that progress and growth happens. In the College Hill neighborhood plan, consistent with the comprehensive plan, multi-use that includes commerce and residence would be an ideal thing there if it were to be torn down. Developers all over the city have to deal with, as me being one, have to deal with answering these types of things, whether that be a first floor parking garage or a parking area with residences or what have you above that, whether it be dug out and have basement parking. But to speak more broadly to the whole point of, well, it already exists with the parking problem, that's absolutely true. And that's why we want to see a plan before just blanketly approving it. There have been no financial considerations or offers to any of those buildings in red that we all own parking lots. None of us have been presented with any sort of a financial plan. Hey, would you rent them to us? Would you put security there? Would you put cameras there?
Okay, you got into areas that was beyond my question, so I appreciate it.
Sorry about that. But to answer the question, we feel like a plan for parking needs to happen regardless of this language.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none. Any other public speakers?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. Next speaker. We can see you.
Okay, that's too bad. My name is Jack Patton. I'm a resident of College Hill, also on the College Hill board. Address is 337 South Rutan, Wichita, Kansas. As being in the engineering business for all my life, this is a perfect example of prior poor decisions on long-term planning coming to a head. There's not enough room for 2,000 extra cars or even 500 extra cars, but we are here dealing with what we got. Also, as an engineering person, my big concern is we have a concept of a plan, but there's not a plan. I'm very encouraged that if there is a plan, it will be forwarded to the fire department. The fire marshal can look over it and say, you got to do this, this, and this for this number of people. And if you want more people, you got to do this, this, and this. So that is encouraging. I am totally surprised that this wasn't the first thing on the list, even before the property was purchased, that there was not an evaluation of potential options. So having said that, I know there are some factors that it's beyond our control and beyond our authority to deal with. But if, we're down to public safety, and putting that many people in a building has to be evaluated by somebody with higher qualifications than I have. So if we can limit the, not limit, but if we can just get somebody who really, really knows what they're doing to bring forth a plan and some guidelines, that would be greatly appreciated. I don't want to see it torn down, but I understand it just might be. I love the idea of having all those concerts in there, and it's a great idea, but I also don't want 5 people parking in my parking space in front of my house. Hopefully I'm far enough away it doesn't affect me, but if it affects my neighbors, being on the board, it's going to affect me. So I just think we need to look further in advance when we start planning situations like this 5-10 years down the road instead of this week or next week or something like that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Patton? Seeing none, appreciate your comments. Next speaker? Anyone else? All right, we will now ask the applicant to come back for any rebuttal that you wish to share. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
So, a couple comments. The building's made out of non-combustible material. There's no flammable material in the building. We're worried about what's going to happen to you when you walk outside, and we want the government to give more control. So if someone wants to walk out and they can't cross the street, I'm sorry. I can't be responsible for that. I took Mr. Holt to breakfast when we bought that building, tried to sit down and have an agreement to work that. I sent him a proposal for an easement agreement. None of those were reached. We are in a civil lawsuit. That is true because he threatened to build a fence to block access to the stage door that's been used for 100 years. There was a photo of a truck during a Clint Black show. If there's a permit that needs to be pulled, if we're going to do something like that in the future, great. That there's going to be something in the street, I'm glad to do it. We weren't aware. Mr. Holt's renovating his building next to us and had glass trucks on the sidewalk blocking the sidewalk for the last week. I didn't see pylons, I don't care. I'm not going to cry and complain to the city like, we had a storage container there that was over 1 extra parking space. We had to get a shorter one to keep him happy. So, at the end of the day, we want the building to stay there. If the neighborhood doesn't want it, we will redevelop it. We'll do what we can to save whatever's there. But in reality, with what is being restricted and put on it, we can't make it make money. Mr. Holt's, clamoring that he's offered to buy the building. We have no formal offer. The building is clearly worth more than what our basis is in it. So if you want to make an offer, make a fair market value offer. Go get your 7 friends and partners.
Sir, keep your comments directed to the board.
All right, that's fair. So that's all I have to say. If you have a question, great.
Any questions for Mr. Brown? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll now bring it back to the board for discussion and action. So I would just like to make a comment that obviously we've known that this theater has been there since the 1920s. It's operated for decades. There's been parking issues. There was no change to the use with this request. It's clear that they desire to keep it as an event venue, and they're wishing to maximize the use of the property. So with that, I'm willing to support this with the motion. We have a couple of questions, though, or comments. Commissioner Duell?
Well, it seems that a big issue in this is the parking, and staff comments on this that they will decide the final outcome on the number of parking spaces sometime after we approve it. Sounds a little out of step, that maybe we ought to have all that resolved before we take action on it.
I thought I heard saw a hand over here first, and then I'll get to you, Mr. Mader. Commissioner Williams-Bay?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. The occupant load will be determined by the fire department and central inspection. If that's the case, it may not be 850. It may be less than that.
That's entirely possible. When this PUD was established in 2017, that limit was put on at 850. I don't remember other cases that this board has determined occupancy levels. I would leave it in the hands of the fire department and trust them. You're right, it could be fewer. And that might, Commissioner Mader.
I think the 850 was put on as part of a change in use and zoning, possibly when alcohol was added and we needed to do the PUD. I'm not sure about that, but it was done as seemed very appropriate at the time. Big question is parking. We've had presentations previously about, well, we have an agreement to get parking here, and we have an agreement to get parking there, and we have an agreement for more parking spaces. None of those have ever shown up in paper. None of them have ever been actually produced.
Sir, this is
None of them have
discussion
been produced to
for the
my
board.
satisfaction. And a certified document that we know is good. And until we get something from this existing owner that says, I have contacted these people, I have an agreement with these lots, rather than we have a promise, I'm not going to be able to support this, especially with the neighborhood being almost unanimously opposed to it, and after having approved the College Hill overlay plan, which we say is supposed to be important.
Understood. Just to be clear, the applicant is asking for it to be determined by code, which is the parking requirement by code. So, Commissioner Miles.
A correction on that, the parking would remain at 17. The parking was not a part of the
Any
application.
other parking? He's asking for additional parking plans.
There would not be required for additional parking plans.
Thank you. Commissioner Miles, did you have a comment?
Yeah, so I just want to say, we're not going to be able to fix the parking issue. The parking issue has existed for a lot of years. I don't see that being fixed. I do think that by allowing an expansion of the capacity of this building, that we will just compound that parking issue. The other thing is, I think we as a planning commission should be responsible for the safety of citizens that could be in that building, that could attend events in the building. I'm worried about the lack of concern for placing a sprinkler system in the building, and I don't know whether or not that'll happen. I'm reading over this document from the fire marshal's office, and it seems unsure whether or not that would happen. And for those two reasons, the fact that I think that this will just compound the parking issue, I think we could potentially put a lot of citizens at risk. And certainly we've seen across the country other building fires that happen in buildings that are high capacity buildings. I think we're just putting the public at risk. That coupled with the fact that it doesn't appear that any business around that could be impacted by this is in support of this in any way, shape, or form. And I, too, also would not like to see the Crown torn down, but I also can't support compounding the parking problem and or putting lives at risk. So for that reason, I won't be able to support this.
Commissioner Klontz?
Did you have something? I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I want to make sure I recognized you.
So to chime in on parking, I really think that we're discounting ride sharing. I've been to shows at Wave when Temple Live was open. I've never driven. Like, I've always used a ride share. And you can actually move your location when you're picked up. So not everyone is being picked up directly in front of the venue. Second to that, also, I feel like it's really important to Wichita to have things to do. And so if we're limiting entertainment, like Wichita is trying to attract talent, trying to retain talent, and we're taking away entertainment. And so with that, I support this.
Okay. I'm ready to make a motion if we want to discuss, or you have.
Just real quickly, this is a problem that began in the 1930s. Whenever this was built, that was a round peg, and now we're trying to put a round peg in a square hole. And we just, you can't do it without tearing down buildings. So, I mean, let them try to make a living out of this. I don't know how many owners that building's had in the last 15, 20 years, but I've heard quite a few, and nobody's been able to make it for long term. So something's wrong there.
Well, again, I'm going to make a motion that we approve, subject to staff conditions.
A second.
We have a second. We'll call for a vote. All in favor? We'll probably have to do a voice vote just to make sure we have everyone. So, you want to do a roll call, please, Mr. Wadle? This is to approve the recommendation, or the request.
Okay, yes, sir.
The vote in favor say aye.
Fry?
Aye.
Mater? No. McKay? Aye. Dool? No. Bill Johnson?
Aye.
Hyde?
Aye.
Nix?
No.
Klontz?
Aye.
Warren? Joe Johnson? Miles?
No.
Zimbelman? Aldrich?
Aye.
Williams Bay? I show 9 in favor, 4 opposed, and 1 abstention.
Okay. Do we have to say why Commissioner Johnson is abstaining? Sorry to put you on the spot, Joe, but since you abstained, I have to check with legal.
And that question once before. How do you answer that?
May I step outside and speak with Mr. Johnson for a minute?
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll recess for 1 minute for legal consultation with commission. No, they bill by the minute. Yeah. So at this point, we have an approval. So can we proceed?
Like to change my vote to no.
Okay, so let the record reflect that Commissioner Joe Johnson has voted in the negative. So, Mr. Wadle, what does that bring our totals to?
Yes, sir, that brings it 9 to 5.
So the motion has been approved on a vote of 9 to 5. Thank you. We'll go to the next item. Welcome, Sam. We'll let the room clear out just a minute, if you don't mind. Probably should have done that during the recess. Well, it was decided already. It was just.
Sir, I'm just curious, do we have the agent or applicant for this one?
We did earlier. Are they still here? They did raise their hand when we were.
I'll go in the hallway and
Check. Well, okay. I know. I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to be heard, but at some points, it's just, come on. The 850, Mr. Williams Bay is right. That could be too many. I mean, we're not the experts. Right. We don't know? Sam, do you know where the applicant or agent is? And that's our last item. Whew, so we can't hear the case, or we can defer it.
I'm gonna offer my opinion and always know that
Ladies and
legal.
gentlemen,
So my understanding is that with a case, if the agent or applicant is not available, that if you hear the presentation and you decide that you want to approve what the applicant has requested, that there's no issues with that. However, if you wish to deny it or if you wish to approve it with modifications, that the best practice is to have the applicant or agent here so that they can speak on their behalf in response to any questions or any modifications. So
with this one being a staff recommendation of denial, I think we should defer it till the next MAPC hearing.
Second.
That's what I think I just said. So thank you for the motion. Thank you for the motion. We have a motion to defer to our next MAPC meeting by Commissioner Miles with a second by, was that Commissioner High? Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. And Commissioner McKay will abstain because he was not here to hear the motion or the case proceedings. So Sam, sorry. And that was our last case, I believe. Correct? With that, all being said, we are adjourned. Thank you.
What do you think of those?
Recording stopped.